Welcome back to another day off, folks. I got something new and exciting for us. This is my buddy Josh's car. We just met. He actually introduced himself through my Craigslist ad for my E46. He says, hey, I'm a big BMW enthusiast. I do have two BMWs I'd love your help with. F25 X3 with an N55 engine, X-Drive, and he got a pretty smoking good deal on it. Somebody had it before and had done some modifications, as you can see by the grille, the wheels, a couple other things. I got the car inspected earlier this week, and there's a list of issues that we need to tackle. But today we're going to be focusing on the headlights. We have an adaptive headlight malfunction and a headlight vertical aim malfunction. And if you look at the garage, you can see that right headlight is sitting a bit higher as far as where the light's displaying. Also, you can see this passenger side halo is out, and the driver's side seems to be fully functioning. Now, we are going to be working on the drivetrain of this thing. You can see I've got some boxes from FCP Euro, and a lot of that is going to be going towards this N55 engine. However, today we are going to be primarily focusing on the headlight issue. Of course, in normal BMW fashion, you cannot get the headlight bucket out without pulling the bumper skin. So I'm going to get this thing up off the ground a little bit, get the front wheels pulled, and today we're going to be getting started on getting this bumper skin removed and getting a closer look at these headlights. Alright, so footwell module. And I have visually inspected the footwell module. All the connectors seem clean. So we have initialization fault in the right headlight driver module. So I really want to get these headlight buckets out so we can get an actual physical look at these modules, because that halo is controlled by an LED module, so we're going to have to look at it anyways. Plus, on these F25s, the modules sit on the bottom of the headlight bucket with their connectors facing up. So if there's any condensation that gets into those headlights, that's going to be an issue. It does not have the headlight sprayer, so that's going to make the job a little bit easier. First off, let's just get what's obvious out of the way. Someone's definitely removed these Torx before. Josh is actually looking for a replacement wheel right now because this wheel had an impact right here and it actually cracked this spoke right here and right here too, so pretty crazy. Alright, so this trim runs around the wheel arch and we're going to need to get access to this bumper right back here, so start with pulling these push pins. Look at this. This bumper bolt is loose. Yep, it's finger loose. So someone was definitely in here before me. So there's more evidence that that right side was tampered with, because this side still has all the factory rivets. On these cars, E70s, stuff like that, they riveted these fender liners on, right? And the other side just had standard push pins. This side's a lot tighter. This looks like it should be the service disconnect for the bumper skin. So get that push pin out. Unplug this, because that looks like it's going to our fog light and some other stuff, so that should DC that. Plus the ambient temp sensor. Bottom's feeling loose. It looks like there's just some hardware right up here that secure the bumper lip to the front left fender. That bumper skin is nice and loose right there. That one's super loose. Nobody ever torqued that back tight. This one also loose. And then same deal right here, we can disconnect this so we don't have to chase down all the wiring harness. Now we need a safe place to put this thing. So the bumper skin is off of this puppy. So now we can get access into the headlights. One piece of hardware here, one piece here in the corner, and then one here and one here. And as you can see, those are the heat sinks for the modules. I was putting this light over on my toolbox. Something loose in there. Maybe it's the adaptive headlight. There might be something broken. Not really looking like a car anymore. This one's looking really clean. However, you can see right here, it's starting to get some corrosion. There's a bunch of debris, sand, and a bunch of garbage that's building up. I see that a lot when these modules fail. It looks like someone filled them with sand. The connector is still good, so that's a good sign. You can hear that moving around in there. That is not good. This is the passenger side, and so this was the one that is throwing our adaptive headlight malfunction. Start with the xenon control module. Connectors are still looking good. There's definitely some moisture settling around the seal. However, it's not inside the seal, so far so good. I just really don't like this design. These are so expensive. I was just on FCP Euro's website, and these headlight buckets cost over $1,000. $1,200 for a new headlight bucket. It looks clean. Well, we're gonna have to swap these modules side by side. Oh, it looks clean. I'm not seeing any water intrusion, which is good. Now let's get into here. See if we can see what's loose and broken. Yep, this adaptive headlight, that side swivel is completely broken. This one's nice and center, so that adaptive motor is able to pivot that assembly. Something broke. I see it. Right there. There's a ball socket. And that ball socket's supposed to connect onto this rod right here. And then that motor's able to move the headlight back and forth. Right there. There's that white piece that clips onto that ball. Based off all these markings on these headlight buckets, someone had it out, and they must have installed like a used headlight bucket assembly or something. I got it. It's a ball socket, clips onto that adaptive headlight motor, and then this slips on to that headlight socket. And so as that motor pushes in and out, it's able to get this thing to turn left and right. I'm going to attempt to try to reinstall it. Hey, all right. That ball and socket is reinstalled, making a little bit of progress. I just wanted to confirm that it was factory packaged with a xenon swapped to an LED, and that is correct. I'm going to mark them, passenger, passenger, driver, driver, swap them across, get the headlights plugged back in, and do some more testing. Now, if you ever go to a BMW shop with xenon headlights and they want an hour or two to diagnose it, now you know why. You got to pull the bumper skin, got to pull both headlight buckets. If you're doing a xenon headlight diag, you usually need to cross swap modules to see if faults follow, because you can't really crack the modules open without breaking the seal on them. Now, of course, this is going to throw some faults. We have the ambient temp sensor disconnected. We have the fog lights disconnected. And important to do this testing before we put the bumper skin back on. That way we don't have to redo all that labor. So we have halos on the left, driver's side, and we still do not have halos on the right. So that tells me that it is not the modules that are bad. There is something else within the circuit that is causing those LED headlights or those LED halos to not work. No halo, just a LED, and we have halos and LED. So I plugged the Foxwell in again, and I went to look at the faults inside the FRM. You can see the fog lights are unplugged. You have initialization fault in the headlight driver module on the right hand side. We may have to swap modules and to see if we can rectify it that way. But another thing I want to do is I want to clear the codes. Alright, we still have that hard fault. It comes back right away. Next, I'm going to pull this driver module out, take a closer look, and confirm that they are compatible to swap side to side. Technically, they're going to need to be initialized whenever you do any changes to any of the adaptive headlights, but I don't have the proper tools for that. Here's more evidence of tampering on the passenger side. There's a Sharpie line down on here, and I can also see some marks to where someone had scratched the back of this connector while they were disconnecting it. I don't know what they were doing, but someone was in here. Maybe they tried to fix this issue and couldn't do it and put it all back together, then sold the car. I don't know. Alright, we got the headlights loosely mocked up. I'm going to get back inside the car, clear faults, give them power, see what happens. Initialization fault left and right. Okay. Initialization fault is in the left now. After swapping that driver control module, we now have no LEDs on the driver's side, but we do have LEDs on the passenger. So it looks like that halo issue is following the driver control module from the passenger to the driver's side. As far as running through the test procedure for the adaptive headlights, I wish I could, but I can't because I don't have the right scan tool capabilities yet. I really need ISTA or a more BMW compatible scan tool. So I think we've ruled out that the LED modules are not the issue. It seems like the issue is coming from the headlight driver module. The fault followed from the passenger side to the driver's side for the initialization fault. So I think we're definitely going to need at least a new driver module to start and then go from there. We may have another issue with the adaptive headlight, but we'll definitely need to get that installed and then get the xenon or the adaptive headlights reinitialized. We are back. We got a new headlight driver module. Josh just swung by and dropped it off this morning. She looks clean. So before I get this installed, what I want to do is I want to go through and take out each of these modules that I had pulled and lubricate the gaskets. That way they're nice and tight before I get everything reinstalled in the car. So all I'm going to be doing here is taking a little dab of Sil Glyde, right? It's just a silicone lubricant, and I'm just going to run it along the seams, just a real light bead, just to keep all these seals nice and hydrated. Make sure none of them roll over during reinstallation. But that's all. Just run some silicone down along the gasket. I'm going to lubricate this gasket as well for the back of the xenon bulb. And I'm just going to hit this with some wet silicone. Nice. I'll lubricate this up with some Sil Glyde. And this is just to prevent any water penetration going into the headlight. Okay. Well, no halo yet. Well guys, I'm pretty bummed those LEDs didn't kick on. I was really hoping getting that new module in there would kick these LEDs on the driver's side and get rid of that initialization fault. But it's still there. So I think the next step is we need to get the modules coded, and then we need to get the headlights initialized. Hopefully once we code that module, it'll be able to send power to LEDs, because the halo issue did follow that driver module. So that's what I'm still thinking is the issue. I live in a pretty rural part here in Northern California, so there's really only 2 spots that can do it. The dealership wants over 350 bucks, so we're gonna try to get in touch with another independent shop and see if they can code and initialize the headlights for us. But either way, I can start putting the front bumper back on because the module is in, and so we're good to go for that. So I'm putting an extra piece of hardware in on both sides because I just don't like this design that much, and there's some negative space between the fender and the bumper skin. So I'm just throwing this extra, I think it's like an 8mm bolt. It's a 13mm head. But I'm just putting that in a nut right here just to tighten up this gap between the bumper and the fender. Had to run out to the store for some push pins. I'm going to use some Stoner trim shine. For this stuff, I'm going to use it the same as I used to use the more shine less time. And really I just like to fog it on. I have an old saturated microfiber I've used for this purpose many times, and I'll just wipe in the surfaces. Not too shabby for a couple minutes with a rag and some Stoner trim shine. So next step, I plug the Foxwell back in. We're going to go through the auto VIN feature and do a complete vehicle scan. Okay, so we did a full delete. We still have one fault in the FRM, two faults in the head unit, one fault in the ZGM. Everything else is looking good. And we are still left with the initialization fault in the headlight driver module on the left-hand side inside the FRM. Okay, let's fire this pig up. She's running good. I'm going to double check the tire pressures real quick and then we'll take her on a drive. Okay, hood is shut, bumper's on, tire pressures are set. Let's see how she drives. 13 miles in on the road test and everything is driving great. Car is running beautifully. Well guys, super successful road test after all those repairs. The trans pan reseal, oil filter housing, oil cooler, belt tensioner, idler pulley, new serpentine belt, upper radiator hose, valve cover replacement. You know, we fixed that loose spark plug. If you're curious about any of the repairs that we did, I just posted up a video. There's 2 videos on this car. Well, she's dirty and I want to get her a bath before I get her back to Josh. Made a little bit of a mess on the fenders here, so today we're going to be getting her cleaned up and getting her ready to go back home. Stoner shipped me out some of their new product. It's this mother of all bubbles. And I'm waiting on their foam cannon attachment to get back in stock, but I'm going to give it a try diluted in the soap bin for my pressure washer today. Damn it. Gonna finish off the paint with some Stoner Hybrid Ceramic Detail Spray and a virgin microfiber. Now we're going to finish off the glass with some hybrid ceramic rain repellent glass cleaner and another virgin microfiber. Last step, finishing up with some Stoner tire finish. Here she is in all of her glory, washed up, cleaned up. There's a couple little dents and dings here on the doors, but the car's still running real good. Give you a quick walk around on this F25. Hi, Sage. Front bumper's all put back together, headlights are looking good. Still need to get them coated and initialized, but that's coming this week. Well, folks, I think that's going to wrap this one up. Josh is on his way to come pick up the X3. I got an invoice sent out to him. He needs to get the headlights coated and initialized at a local shop. And lucky for me and lucky for you, he's bringing his 1 Series convertible by. I believe it's a 2008 with an N52. We're going to be doing some work on a potential rough idle issue. If you're interested in picking up any Stoner Car Care products, be sure to use code DAYOFF15 at checkout. Get yourself 15% off. Also a great way to directly support the channel. Also, I wanted to share this bulletin I found with you while I was editing this up. I saw this FRM KCAN2 communication fault earlier, and it looks like there's a few spots to where the wiring harness tends to chafe and short out. And so, if this is a common problem for the KCAN, and this issue is not fixed after coding and initializing, I will definitely be following this and looking for some of these areas. We also have a bunch of new jobs coming to the channel this week, so be sure to subscribe to keep an eye out for more DIY BMW content. I hope you guys enjoyed, or I hope you learned something new, and as always, folks, I will see you on my next day off. Cheers.